Hey everyone, welcome to Back to the Frame Rates bonus episode, August wrap-up show. We do this once a month where we dive into what we've been doing over the past month and we look at our past retrospective series, fun little show that we do every once in a while. We're going to be looking back at our 80s summer comedies that we did this past month and just kind of like hobnob about what we've been watching, what we've been doing. With me is B and hello. Well, we are at the end of August, the end of the summer, end of an era.
End of an era.
And yeah, I'd like to talk about in general the films that we watched. And I know you had a chance to catch up on The Great Outdoors. I know you weren't around for that review, but I guess we could get right into that because that's the one movie that you weren't around for.
Sure.
Just to recap, the movies that we watched for this retrospective were Ernest Goes to Camp, The Great Outdoors, and One Crazy Summer, which we reviewed a couple weeks ago. But
crazy.
But we're gonna rank these films and talk about our highlights, surprises, things maybe we want to forget about these, but we'll get into it.
Sure.
So tell me about with these three films. But first, I guess I will mention what did you think of The Great Outdoors? Because you had a chance to catch up on that finally.
I did, and when you had proposed this sort of genre to go through, I was like, I am wildly unfamiliar with all these movies. I have no idea what you're talking about. I can't even recommend something in the genre. And then somewhere along, my partner and I were watching The Great Outdoors, and I went, oh, I've seen this movie. Oh. I know this movie. And it's really fun. I mean, I'm a big John Candy fan. It's that sort of sketch situational comedy. They take a bit, they leave a bit. I thought it was a fun.
That's why I had a feeling you would like it because we praised how One Crazy Summer was such like a situational comedy bits where it was basically chapters of this whole thing. The Great Outdoors really follows a very similar formula.
Yeah, and it's probably a little better.
Yeah.
A little higher budget, a little better, some more talent thrown in there. Mm-hmm. How good is Annette Bening?
Yeah, her first movie. It was her first film role.
Oh, she did great.
Yep. I want to rank these three movies, but before we do, I want to ask, this was a genre we kind of mocked that, this is perhaps a genre from the 80s that, we could bury this in the past. It would be okay with it. Sure. But if we could have fit one more film in, any thoughts on what that could be, or do we wish it was longer?
I'm happy we did 3, but I think there are plenty of movies that could have made the cut. Had we talked about Weekend at Bernie's?
Weekend at Bernie's was, for our listeners out there, that was our original pick for our last movie. And it may have been mentioned already, but, we had to swap it out for One Crazy Summer at the last minute because Weekend at Bernie's is not streaming anywhere, nor for rent anywhere. Yeah. And I was not about to shell out, I think, like $14.99 to buy the movie.
As it is, I bought the pack of Ernest movies just so I could watch Ernest Goes to Camp.
You're crazy.
I'm dyed in the wool, Nathan. Weekend at Bernie's could have been good.
Yeah, it could have been good. And that's one I know I haven't seen it since the 80s or 1990 or something like that. Maybe someday we'll actually get to that. We'll see if we ever do our 80s comedy theme again.
I think you brought it up in One Crazy Summer, and I actually think Wet Hot American Summer would have been a fun point on the end of all of this too, just to sort of do like the retrospective look at it, how have these aged, would have been kind of fun.
What I liked about the 3 movies that we did choose, though, is that the 3 movies that we have all kind of have a heart to them. None of these took like the cynical route. All of these were kind of dumb fun, but they, like I said, they had a good heart to all of them. And I think they all complement each other well, these 3 movies. There wasn't like one standout that was like, we didn't throw in Porky's in the middle of this.
Well, I was thinking there wasn't anything super raunchy,
And it'd be so easy.
It could have been a lot worse.
It could have been. Exactly. There's a lot we could do. But these three films really are pretty much wholesome entertainment. So yeah.
Just kind of like about dads for the most part, you know.
And anything that you found as a surprise in this whole thing or disappointment?
Not a disappointment. Pleasantly surprised that Ernest wasn't like as bad as it could have been. I feel like I've heard of some Ernest movies going off the rails with things that have not aged well. And I thought for the most part it was wholesome and fun and fine. And my big surprise was One Crazy Summer, because I had never even heard of that movie and really loved it. Disappointments? No, it was exactly what I expected.
Yep.
How about you?
I said on our last review, I thought One Crazy Summer was better than I ever would have given it credit to be. I really expected it to be something very, very stupid, lowbrow humor. And there was some of that in it, but I thought it was really well written. And I give it a lot of credit for that. So I was impressed. Not a great film, but definitely better than I thought it would ever going to be. Yeah. So, but the other movies were exactly as I remember them being. The Great Outdoors is a film that I grew up with. It is something that is part of my DNA. I watched it over and over. The two elements of it, there's slapstick humor in it. I loved that era of John Candy and Dan Aykroyd. And I don't know if you listened to our episode that me and Sam did on that, but there's a teenage romance that's in that film that I look back at it now and we were joking that like I have a cold heart now and I just wanted to fast forward through that part of it. I found it to be very cheesy.
Did listen.
But in the 80s, when I was like 14 watching that, I loved that part because it was the ideal romance that somebody my age wanted to have when I went away on vacation.
Right.
You know, for those things like, I want to meet a girl.
It's kind of what you're gunning for at camp or something.
Exactly.
Right?
So
Yeah.
I loved that. So
I thought it was really sweet when he gets hung up at dinner and can't go meet her, but can't call her or anything. It was just, it's such a product of its time that there's no way to let her know that she's been totally stranded. And he tries to make it. And you feel that. It's so real.
Yeah. So I'm really glad we got to do this 80s summer comedies. Perfect time of the year to do this. We're not going to do this in February or December or anything. So this was a great opportunity. Not here.
Not here.
Yeah. If you had to rank these three movies, B, how would you do it?
Great Outdoors, One Crazy Summer, Ernest.
Yeah. I would have exactly the same ranking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Significantly less Nantucket and John Candy's movie, but maybe that's why I ranked it higher.
All right. So I want to move on to another topic here. A look back at the summer in movies in general. I don't know if we haven't really caught up much on what we've seen this summer. I may have seen more than you have, or you've seen more than I have. I don't know. But I did actually get a decent amount of time at the theater. But it's really interesting because I think the box office did a good amount of rebounding after a very horrible spring.
Yeah, Q1, man. Never good.
Quarter one, not good. Some of the bombs I was looking at, like Madam Web, if underperformed, The Fall Guy, Argyle, sadly Furiosa really underperformed. The First Omen, Lisa Frankenstein, Ghostbusters, Frozen Empire really were movies that did not do as well as studios thought they would. But this summer, mid-June through July, we had Twisters, we had Deadpool and Wolverine, Inside Out 2, Despicable Me 4, Bad Boys Ride or Die. And lately, It Ends With Us, which I have not seen, but like my wife saw that and she loved it. But these, cool. What I'm saying is these movies really, really turned the box office around this summer.
Yeah.
And I don't know, any thoughts on that? Because usually the box office is strong in May and June, but not this year.
No, not this year. I think I don't know. Everyone has their own opinions on what's going on. I don't think streaming's to blame. I do think I think on some level folks are exhausted by IP, I think. But then you see things like Deadpool and Wolverine doing really well. So I don't know. What I do know is this is the year for horror movies, though. There are so many, and there's so many good and creative ones, and they're doing really well, and I am happy to see that. So it does, saying goodbye to summer is hard, but it does make me look forward to fall, because I think, especially looking forward to like Nosferatu, that's coming. There's some fun stuff down the pipe. So,
yeah.
I don't know. What are you thinking?
Well, I'm looking at this and I still see that a lot of these are sequels that are performing well this summer. And, you know, and I think we're just going to get more and more of that. There's no reason that that's going to change.
I know, but it's not even like universally sequels are doing well or doing poorly, you know, because we're seeing it kind of all over the map. I wonder if it's how fast people are getting sequels. Like if there's time in between, if they're doing any better. I don't know.
I mean, my theory's always been the streaming window is way too short as well.
Yeah.
I mean, if you know, and people are expecting that a title is going to be available on VOD 3 weeks later, what is the incentive? And a lot of people do not really care so much about seeing it on the big screen with big sound and all that. A lot of times it's like, it's a hassle going to the theater. You know, the experience isn't optimal. You're dealing with annoying people. The floors are sticky.
It's super expensive now.
It's expensive, and you're paying for parking in some occasions. Like, what is the incentive when you can go to your family room and rent it for $14.99? And everybody can enjoy it there in the comfort of your own home. I get it. I totally get it. And knowing that you only have to wait 3 weeks now for a lot of these movies, it's not going to turn around. And I don't know if it means renegotiating with streamers when these can come to these platforms, but I don't know what the incentive is for
I also think
people that are on the fence about going to the theater to see these.
It's gotten more expensive and the product has gotten worse. So like I'm a member to AMC, and so I get the whole like 3 free movies a week thing, and it's a steal. It's absolutely like free money, go to the movies, how often you're able to go. But the theater is gross. Yeah. I go to like 2 or 3 local AMCs, and the seats that are supposed to recline are often busted. They're not clean. The cup holders are filthy. The floors are sticky. The popcorn stuff, the butter and whatever doesn't work. Like, it's just not a good experience either. So it's kind of a bummer that theaters that are accessible to most people aren't doing more to get folks in the door.
Totally agree. Yeah. I don't know really what the solution is, but
I know it's not 40X. I know that's not the solution.
No.
I don't think that's it.
No. Well, we'll see what happens.
Yeah. So what did you see this summer that you loved?
Yeah, I have actually a lot of thoughts, a lot to share. I'm going to try to go through a few of them. And it's been months, I feel like, since we've really caught up. And some of these, I think you have already shared some opinions on. But I have a few things, and we can kind of go back and forth. But I never really talked about my thoughts on the bike riders, which is one of the first things I saw this summer. So I'm a big fan of Jeff Nichols. I can't think of a movie that he's done that I have not liked. It might be my favorite director right now, but I was very underwhelmed by this movie. It took definitely took the blueprint from Goodfellas, but it's not quite as good.
Never gonna be.
I love the overall vibe and aesthetic of this film. But the story just was not strong enough, and I wasn't on board at all with the Jodie Comer character. She's kind of chaperoning us through the story, narrating it. And I found her voiceover and narration grating. And especially since I felt like she had very little to do with the main plot of this movie. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of aggravated with it. And this film could have been amazing. This film really could have been amazing. And there is, I feel like, a better version of this to be told. And I love biker movies, and I was very disappointed. Right now,
it's one of my bigger disappointments of the year.
Yeah, because I wanted to love this. I walked away like, it's because it could have been so good.
Yeah.
And it just like, it didn't hit the mark.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think it sort of halfway through didn't know what story it wanted to tell anymore. It didn't know if it wanted to tell this like anthology story about the history of the biker group and where it was going and the changing times, or was it like an isolated story about this man? It just didn't do a very good job at contextualizing those. And I love a road movie. I love a dudes rock movie. But if you're going to do it and you're going to have the propulsion of the movie be like one of your only female characters, she's got to be good.
Yeah.
And she wasn't.
No, I did not like what they did with her.
No.
Do you want to mention anything, or do you want me to?
Yeah, sure. I can go. Let's see. Oh, I did see Alien Romulus, which you were talking about last week.
Okay.
I really liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, heck yeah, movies are bad. It was so great. It's exactly what you were saying. It's more horror than sci-fi, but there were some scenes in there that I was just on the edge of my seat. They were so interesting and beautiful. So kind of spoilers for folks.
Spoilers on Alien Romulus.
Fast forward if you don't want to hear it.
Yep.
But the acid blood splatter scene where they're oh my God, what was that? That was sick. And the elevator scene, I was like, oh my God, I felt so much tension. Oh.
I want to mention, you know what? I listened to another podcast review on it, and they mentioned something that really summed up the aesthetic of this movie. It is like a video game brought to life.
Yes.
Because it really is that kind of aesthetic, which is really hits a nail on the head. It is a beautiful video game movie.
Yeah. The lighting is
you enter a room
perfect.
And it shuts off. You can't go backwards. You have to go forward to the room. And it's really good. The longer I think about the movie, it's growing on me more and more. Because I was kind of mixed positive on it. But the more I think about it, it's really like, it really is doing some new things that I like.
It was incredible. The worst part of it was Ian Holm.
Yeah. Again, spoilers, like Ian Holm, he passed, I think, in 2020 or 2021 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the family, apparently the estate of Ian Holm, gave their blessing to use his likeness for this movie. And I mean, what I can say is that, I mean, it's not just a small cameo. He plays a pretty prominent role, his likeness in this movie. And there's a character called Rook, who is another synthetic human
who does incredible.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's relatively well done how they do it, but I also question, like, did this need to be?
So this is my thing. I actually don't think it was that well done. I think it was some of the lesser computer effects, but I thought it was kind of lazy writing. Like this, I don't think we needed him, at least, especially for as long as we had him.
Well, here's the thing: like, if you're they're using Ian Holm. Yeah. And it had the whole uncanny valley thing. Yes. I thought, I didn't think it was that poorly done, better than what they did with, what's from
Star Wars?
Star Wars.
Or the other one.
No, not Christopher, Chris. I am really like screwing over my Star Wars knowledge right
Can't even help you.
Show.
Can't even help you.
Yeah.
And I've seen all the Star Wars. This is just how much they mean to me,
Yeah. Cushing's character. Of course, I'm like absolutely Grand Moff Tarkin. They redo his character for Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. Oh my God, I'm blanking completely tonight.
Which I liked Rogue One.
Yeah, I love Rogue One. But with Ian Holm, there's kind of this uncanny valley. I didn't think it was bad though what they did. But what is weird is they went to this Ian Holm character. And they didn't have to go to Ian Holm for a synthetic human. They have a living person that played an android who was a fantastic actor who's still alive.
Amazing.
Lance Hendrickson, that they could have also used for this. Now they wanted to do it because they wanted to have, somebody
a callback to the
original Alien. But why couldn't it be Lance Hendrickson? Yeah,
there were plenty of other callbacks. It really took me out. Like I noticed it. And there were some times when the head would turn and stuff. And it really just was jarring for me. And I also I think there's write better, like figure it out. That's your job. Yeah. I just am inherently against it. But I mean, I thought it was an excellent movie.
Yeah.
More alien movies like that.
Yeah. I just hope maybe someday we get that third Ridley Scott movie to follow up on. We'll see.
The dream.
Probably not.
It's actually Gladiator 2. It takes place in space. That's why there's water in the Colosseum.
So I'll mention something else that I saw. I saw Kinds of Kindness. Have you seen this?
Oh, yeah. Kinds of. No. Did you like it?
Well, I was very confused
Okay.
by this movie, but it also came out really quickly after last year's incredible Poor Things. And I
wanted to see it.
I still don't have much of a take on this movie. It's attempting to wrestle with themes of, faith and control, exploitation is what I'm trying to say.
I'm so tired of the bad guy being trauma.
However, upon, after viewing this, I found it to be just really incoherent and mostly unenjoyable is the problem.
Really incoherent, mostly unenjoyable. That's on the trailer.
You can quote me, all right?
2 stars.
But I would like to know what listeners thought of this. But this is someone who's coming from, I've loved almost every one of Yorgos Lanthimos'.
You and I are sicko Yorgos completionists. We've done Dogtooth and all of it. Yeah.
So this is, and but it's also weird that this came out so quickly after Poor Things too. Like it made me a little suspicious when it came out that fast also. But the marketing for it was a little bizarre. So I was a little cautious.
It's like non-existent.
Yeah. Do you have another one?
Another Yorgos or just another movie?
Another film that you want to mention from this?
Yeah. So talking horror, I went to go see Cuckoo last week. Have you seen anything about Cuckoo? Have you seen it?
I want to see it, but I've been avoiding all marketing and trailers for it because I do.
Okay.
Want to see it. Yeah.
I am not going to tell you anything. What I will say is it was very well done. It was good. It could have been great. I think for such a wild premise, and it's wild, I almost don't think it pushed it far enough in some aspects. And I think the writing is a little plot wholly weak. Don't go into it with an analytical mind. Just let it wash over you like a dream. And in that way, it's good. The lead performance is so good. Okay. So good. It's got great effects, some genuinely tense moments, a little more jump scary than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, like I said, just digging in for horror. I saw Long Legs too. And that was another, creep show, which was very good, I thought.
Good. Something else that I saw along with, I think, a couple other billion people was Deadpool and Wolverine.
I still haven't seen it. I'm one of the billion who hasn't.
All right. Well, this is one of my most anticipated movies of the year. It did not disappoint. Probably the funniest film in the franchise. Of all X-Men movies, of all Marvel films. It's really funny. Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds are perfect in their roles. The characters are almost like a comedy duo. Very similar to like the great acts of like Laurel and Hardy and Abbott and Costello, where one's the straight man, one's the funny man.
Yes.
It's really comedy gold. Also, I won't spoil anything about this, but there's some incredible cameos in this. It's the genius cameos in this. Great surprises. I don't know. But what I like about this, it's designed so that it rewards everyone that has been on board with the Marvel films over the last 25, 26 years or so, going back to the 90s. It's really fascinating how they weave it all together. My only gripe though with the film, without spoiling anything, is that the plot is a complete like non-entity. And it left me really wondering, does the MCU actually mean anything? It's really
great question. No.
Yeah. It's once you see it, you'll understand.
Okay. I'm looking forward to it.
I've got 2 or 3 other things I'll highlight, but one.
Actually, I think there's one that I saw on your list and I went, oh yeah, I did watch that. The new Beverly Hills Cop.
Oh yeah. I was going to mention that as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So I didn't grow up with Beverly Hills Cop. They're something that I've just kind of seen in passing, and I have a feeling you did either grow up with it or watch them and sort of. So
I
I
saw
feel like
the original film in the theater when I was 10 years old. Yeah.
I was like, I bet we have a different relationship to these movies. So when I watched the new one, I was more like, oh, I can see what they're doing. I get that it's fun, but it was pretty like, it's like, yeah, it's okay. To me, it felt like watching some of our 80s summer comedies where I was like, yeah, I can just turn my brain off and it's a big kind of funny, violent movie. I'm glad to see Eddie Murphy doing anything. You know,
This movie was a surprise for me. I went expecting the worst.
it's pretty good.
Especially after the direct to VOD Eddie Murphy legacy sequel coming to America, which I
that was, we don't have to talk about that.
It was barely a movie. This fourth installment isn't as good as the first film, nor the second, which I personally regard as a very good film, but it does encapsulate what I thought was that second film. Has that late 80s, early 90s Tony Scott, action aesthetic. But unlike Beverly Hills Cop 3, Eddie Murphy does seem like he wants to be making.
He showed up to work. Yeah,
exactly. And he is reaching back into that old bag of tricks. And it was nice to see him. He has some of that sharp wit about him, that he was known for back in the day. I had a fun time with this movie. I thought it was going to be trash, but it ended up being not that bad. And I don't know if that's
it's crazy that's praise.
that is praise. Like, it's perfectly situated on a VOD streaming service. I don't think this would have done well in the theater. Still, I think it's fine that it went to Netflix, or is that where it went to Netflix?
Yes.
That's where it earned itself to be. But yeah, this was fun. Yeah, no complaints at all.
Yeah, it does exactly what it says it's going to do on the tin. Like, look, I think it's reviving the series in any kind of big way, or even anyone's career in a big way. No, and I don't think anyone expected it to. But it's nice. People got to make some money. We had some good, easy laughs. You do not have to think too hard. Nope. It's fine. It's fine. Yep. Good Wednesday night movie.
Right. I have, I think, one more I want to mention. Skywalkers, A Love Story. Have you seen this documentary on Netflix or heard of it?
It's a documentary. I thought you were going to tell me it's like a Star Wars spinoff.
No, you would think it is. This is a new documentary that was recently released on Netflix. It's about two peoples whose passion brought them together through their love of climbing ridiculously high structures with no safety harnesses.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I'll quickly mention.
So we're both watching horror movies.
I'll mention what I love and hated about this film. What I love, the way this is shot is incredible. Mm-hmm. They are wearing GoPros as they ascend these structures. So when you have this fisheye view of everything that they are seeing on top of like tall buildings and skyscrapers, and it gives you that sense of vertigo, especially if you're watching this on the big TV. I watched it on a tablet, which is not the way to watch this. I did it while I was on vacation.
I'm telling David Lynch on you.
On my 13-inch tablet, I was getting queasy watching this.
Oh, wow.
Wow. I can't imagine what it would be like on a large TV, but I would recommend that's the way to watch this. But what I didn't enjoy, it was the supposed love story.
Supposed?
You can make fun of me all you want that I'm this old curmudgeon, and I get teased about that. But the entire plot of this documentary is where they meet this guy and this girl. They meet through like social media or YouTube. They both have YouTube pages, and they find each other because they both have the same hobby. And they fall in love. I'm not really spoiling much about this. That's the whole premise of the movie.
How many people have this hobby? Like, of course
exactly.
They found each other.
Yeah. But it goes farther than that, and it forces what feels like a very superficial marital drama onto this whole movie, and it plays this up in a very big way in the movie. And it would have been perfectly fine as a documentary about just their footage of them ascending these buildings. But it feels like this marital drama is really shoehorned into this. And I want to point listeners to one of my favorite films from 2018. It's called Free Solo.
Good.
Which I think is head and shoulders a better movie than this, but it's kind of similar in theme. And it's about a free solo rock climber, Alex
Honnold.
Yeah. And he's ascending El Capitan. The tension in that movie.
That guy's fucking nuts.
Yeah, he is. But it's the same type of feeling that I got watching this when it comes to.
I just didn't know that you watched it. We got to talk about that movie.
Yeah, it's a great film. Great film. But if you're looking for that kind of like stress-inducing feeling watching a movie, yes, I'd say Skywalker's A Love Story is the next place you could go for that feeling. But you're going to have to endure some like TLC style drama with that about this couple.
Oh my God.
So yeah.
Can I piggyback off this actually? Cause I have two recommendations that are, if you're looking for this, similar to you, Free Solo is a great recommendation. But if you've already watched it 100 times, and if it were a VCR and you'd run it out like I have, a newer movie came out on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen this, Mountain Queen. It's of Lakpa Sherpa. It's the story of the woman who summited Everest more times than any other woman. She summited 10 times.
Oh, wow.
And it does detail her like very traumatic backstory and how she's summited despite it all. It's incredible. It's wonderfully done. And yeah, it's really powerful. So I would say that's a good one to check out.
All right. Good recommendation.
More drama on the high elevation. High elevation, high
Great.
drama. Yeah.
Okay.
Have you seen anything else?
Those are I'm thinking about things that I saw. Well, I have one. I didn't make notes on it, but last night I did check out the new John Woo film, his retelling of The Killer.
Wait, what?
Came out. Yeah.
What? I gotta see that.
New John Woo movie on Peacock. He redid The Killer.
Oh, I gotta see that. Is it good? Can't be worse than Silent Night.
Okay. You know what? I want to be a John Woo completist. That's a really hard thing to do, but I'll get there someday. We need to do like a John Woo retrospective sometime on the show. That would be cool. But I did not see Silent Night. I heard really, really mixed to negative things.
Truly terrible.
Truly terrible. Put that on the poster.
Yeah, truly bad. Yeah, it's not a good movie. Yeah,
I don't know because I have not seen a lot of John Woo films in recent years, but I did like this. It definitely is doing something different than the original, The Killer, the original film with Chow Yun-fat.
Yeah,
and it stars Zoe Kravitz and. And I forget the other male lead in this. It has a different take, which I am kind of thankful for. It is definitely not like a shot for shot remake. It is doing some different things. It has the basic premise is still there, but it feels like it's a little less gun fu and gunplay and a little bit more story in this. I think it's pretty good. But I have not been much. I have not really been much up on his career of late.
Obviously, neither have I. Didn't even know this happened.
The funny thing is, I knew this movie was coming, and when David Fincher came out with The Killer last year, right. I saw that The Killer was coming out in November. Like, oh, that must be the John Woo movie. Like, no, this is David Fincher's The Killer, and I got really confused with all these killer movies.
I would love to do a double feature though with the original Killer because that's a great movie.
Yeah,
and then this new John Woo.
Yeah,
I would be down.
Good stuff. I think you like it because it is definitely, I think, a fresh new take on it.
Yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Nathalie Emmanuel, Omar Sy. Cool. Oh, Sam Worthington. Yeah.
Sam Worthington. Where have you been, Sam Worthington? He's good in it. And I was so happy to see Sam Worthington doing something that this is the Sam, like it's to say it's the best thing Sam Worthington's done in 14 years is not a joke. It is. He's actually looks like he's having a good time in this movie, and it was fun seeing him in this.
We should do directors that take their old stuff and redo it, but kind of different. Like Cronenberg's done that with what was the one Cronenberg did recently?
Oh yeah, I know exactly.
Now I'm the one who can't remember anything. I swear we're professionals over here. Is it Crimes of the Future?
Yes.
Crimes of the Future. Yeah, we could do that. That would be a fun.
Which I never saw his original.
Well, I like the new one too.
I liked it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, that was the summer. Oh, I will make a plug just real quick for the Decameron. It's a miniseries on Netflix, and it's so funny. Everyone should be watching it.
Decameron, where can people see it?
Netflix.
Netflix. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Probably just said that.
Dark medieval humor. It's okay.
Anything? I'm slowly almost caught up on House of the Dragon. I was like 3 weeks. I was on vacation, so I was way behind. I'm catching up on that. I'm catching up on season 5 of Better Call Saul because I'm way behind on that.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah.
I'm doing a Veep rewatch. That's been fun. But
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I finished the first 5 episodes of Cobra Kai that they released. I watched that.
Oh yeah.
It's trash TV, but I gotta see it because the Karate Kid movie is coming out as well.
Yes.
That's gonna have a feature film based on these characters. So I gotta be there for that.
Yeah. Yeah. We should all go see that. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what we've been watching. So
that's the summer.
That is a summer. All
Some
right.
blockbusters, baby.
All right. So I think that wraps it up for our August wrap up summer retrospective. That was
rolls off the tongue.
Yeah. Yeah. We're pros, people, really. All right. Well, everyone have a good week and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Woo.
Bye-bye.